And if it shows efficacy in both of these, this is just going to make this stock go stupid high, in my opinion. Hey guys, welcome to Dreamcoin, where we share how to invest for a better tomorrow. My name's Tyler, and today we're going to be going over the FDA rejection that ORPH faced, why I think it could give them a couple different scenarios for their future, and how I think the stock is going to play out over the long term for anybody interested in sitting on it. Today around midnight my time, which was fairly early this morning for a lot of people, Orphazyme came out with the news that the FDA submitted them a CRL. And if you aren't familiar, a CRL is a complete response letter, which basically just tells you that the company is not going to be able to have their drug approved. And usually this is for whatever reason the FDA gives, which we'll kind of dig into off of Orphazyme's report from their investor conference. But essentially, when a company is given a CRL, it usually means that the decision from an FDA approval would most likely be delayed on average for 14 months, which is going to be over a year from now, most likely. And why this is not great for Orphazyme and their stock ORPH is because now they're kind of stuck in a position where they can't do much to get their data for now until they can get more studies on some of the drugs that they were doing. And they said they're going to be doing an update in the future on where they're going to be going with the company, but they kept it pretty vague. Even in their investor conference today, I was listening in as soon as they went live with it, and they were basically just reiterating the information that they put out on their own press release last night. From Orphazyme themselves, they stated that the FDA wanted more information that confirmed it kept the disease from progressing in patients over a period of time. They have basically been saying that they like their data, but they don't feel like it's enough, is their implication when they're communicating with them, it sounds like. And the FDA basically just wants them to get a greater confirmation of benefit to risk for this. The FDA has been seemingly under a microscope lately due to a controversial Alzheimer's drug that they had just approved, and it was the first in 20 years. And on top of all that, a few of the FDA members have actually dropped off of the committee because they didn't want to be involved in the decisions anymore due to that approval. Niemann-Pick disease is a very progressive and fatal disease, particularly in young children, and there's no current cure on the market that is approved for commercial use, which basically you're kind of stranded as a patient now, especially with the main treatment for NPC being redrawn back out so that they literally have almost nothing. The CEO, when this press release was given out to the public, had stated inside of it that they're now going to shift the company's look for European regulatory approval, which would go through the European Medicines Agency. If you're not familiar with what they do, they're essentially the European version of the FDA, basically just regulating what drugs are safe or not safe to use on the commercial market based on data. And then alongside that, they're going to be looking to possibly figure out how they can strengthen their relationship with the FDA in the future to get approval. Now, I think this is going to be a huge ask of them anytime in the next year as of now. This is due to the fact that they basically said they're broke. They don't have any money now because by the end of the year, they're supposed to be dropped down to only $50 million left is what their estimate is. They stated that they needed to reduce their costs substantially, and then they are going to be looking to freeze all company work that is not related to clinical or regulatory activities. So this isn't a good look for them right now if you're in long. We could be seeing a share offering now, so you might be pretty red on them for a little bit if they actually do come out with a share offering soon. The only thing kind of going for people still in this is the fact that they have such a low float, and then the amount of the shares that were shorted is still severely high. And so this does have potential for it to be squeezed still. But as for catalysts coming up, they're not looking to even get possible European regulatory approval until Q4 of this year. And then they're not even going to be marketing their product until Q1 of 2022 is their estimate as of now. This isn't going to be great for them due to the fact that they are most likely going to be doing a share offering to get money. I don't see too many other options they have right now because they don't have a commercialized drug to sell or anything like that. As we analyze the price action for ORPH through after hours yesterday into the morning of today, June 18th, we see that that, they were riding pretty good above 14. And then as soon as that news came out for FDA, they just plummeted super early in the morning. It's about like 4 a.m. Eastern. Platforms like Webull and stuff let you trade. So a lot of people were in at that point. And they ended up crashing down to $5.09, which is almost completely perfectly aligned with what I had predicted in my original analysis of ORF going into this decision. And then they actually went up almost 100% between that low crash all the way up to the high today, where they were riding in the middle of nines for a good little bit. When they started rallying after market open, it looked like they were going to have a good run today, but then they ended up just getting a slow settle down where they popped over 7 into close. If you held on through that volatility in the morning and didn't sell at least until you got to the market day, you made out pretty good on mitigating losses. Again, I stated before, this is going to be very high risk, high reward, and the potential for reward was just too great for a lot of people. I viewed it as pretty solid as well, just considering even if you bought in at like 17, possible downside is about $12 if you go off of that $5 drop that I had predicted, and then the upside was literally between like $70 and $100 on FDA approval is what the estimate was, especially with shorts having to squeeze the price even higher and cover their positions. What I'm going to be looking for over the next couple weeks is if they hold off and don't do a share offering quite yet, it might have a chance still for it to get a little bit more of a squeeze out of it. I could see it possibly rising over $10 over the next week and a half, but that's all I expect right now. It's had a hard resistance at about 9.5 when it's been testing that, so it would need to break that as a key level going into next week or the week after to see where it's going to be going. And if they do end up doing a share offering, I see this dropping to like worst case a $4 to $8 channel for a little while, and I think it'll be kind of stuck there because it'll kind of blow up the fact that there was a squeeze potential on this play. I think if you're looking to play this long, you should be okay in the long run. Like I said, I don't think they're going to let themselves get flat out broke for it. A lot of the big insiders for the company own a ton of the shares, so they're investors as well, just as much as retail is. And we could be seeing, after they get a share offering out, pretty decent financial stuff to keep them afloat for a year or two, and then see how the EU plays out with their decision for approval of their drug over there. I think they have a better chance of that too, just because Orphazyme is a Danish company, so that might look a little better for them in EU's way instead of having to try to get international approval over here in the United States for FDA. So that's what I'm going to be looking for on the price. And you know, it's really up to you at this point if you want to cut losses or if you want to hold. This is just what I see for a couple possible scenarios for the stock and the company going forward. So either they end up getting their European stuff, or I don't see them having very much going on unless they can get bought out by somebody long term. I did want to give you guys also a potential sympathy play and analysis of a company that could now become more available in an FDA setting due to the fact that ORF ended up not getting their endorsement by the FDA, and that's going to be CYTH Therapeutics. And they actually just came out with PR on June 17th that they're starting enrollment, and it would allow them to test different pediatric and adult patients in trials that they're using to try and help treat Niemann-Pick disease type C, which if you were following ORF or checked out analysis on them, they are looking to cure that disease as well. Also to keep in mind with CYTH Therapeutics is they are moving a decent bit lately and getting a lot more attention off of Alzheimer's disease, and that's because that they are using their same treatment that they're looking to treat NPC with to look into seeing if it works on Alzheimer's disease. They've already had feedback from the FDA that points towards them liking the kind of stuff that they're doing in their trials, and they are going into phase 2 anytime in the future to possibly advance that on top of them trying to get their product out for NPC. Another big thing going for CYTH stock right now is the fact that they have a potential 1-year-long price target of $25 from Analyst. Upside for this looks pretty reasonable to me considering what they're trying to treat, but I do think they can get a possible huge jump just off of news of getting positive feedback for NPC in their data, or getting closer to a point where they get more data out for Alzheimer's with their treatment as well. And if it shows efficacy in both of these, this is just going to make this stock go stupid high in my opinion. Like, this would be just insane to see something playing off of coming into a new Alzheimer's treatment on top of something that could be used for NPC. Back here around 10th on CYTH, I actually ended up seeing a ton of volume coming into their stock stock, and it just ended up getting a nice bit of price squeeze going upward. I did call it around a 960 area for people to try and day trade, and some people were able to ride that above $12 and $13 roughly at one point while looking at the stock's price action. And since then, and all of that going on, they've settled down to where they're trading just above $10. They went up a little ways today, and if you'd have played this bottom back in the 16th, you would have had them at $6 and would have been able to ride them up to $12 and almost doubling again on just insane price action they've been having lately. So even outside of looking long term, this has a lot of nice short-term price action if you can get some nice dips below that $8-9 area and ride it back over into the 10s. But I think on getting positive data out, we could be seeing more of this insane upward price action from them. I think in the next couple months, especially as they get more stuff out and a lot more hype comes into them, I can see them trading between 15 and 20 bucks naturally. And then if they get really good data, I could see them hitting between that $20-25 area, just around where analysts think they could price in. And if we look into where they could have their data for approval based on the fact that their past treatments that were fairly recent back as far as January of this year, we could be seeing a more reasonable FDA approval for them even than Orphazyme had when they submitted their FDA file. If you are interested in learning more about Orphazyme and their stock ORF over the long term and how I view their drug, you can look into my previous video I did on this back on June 16th, and that'll give you a good bit of DD on the company and what they're trying to progress for their treatments with different kinds of diseases. Other than that, that's going to do it for me in this video today, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.